Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, "I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together."
I always thought it was pronounced prelude, not prelude.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
They're already speaking British accents.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
At least I think it's British accents.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Please don't be racist.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay.
Okay, good.
And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Depends on who you ask for a center of the world. Though technically I think it would be the Earth's core. That's a lot of cogs. Is the court inside a clock tower? Is this the Castlevania mansion with Dracula as a judge? British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. February 18th. We're about 14 days away. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. Just watch out for Medusa heads. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this? What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice Office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. Kaz! No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Okay, good. We're not doing the whole, quick, pretend to be Kazuma. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. Can I just call him the LCJ? Or Lord... LCJs is kind of a mouthful. So that's the second reason why we're here. To have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting. What? Oh god! This guy! I'm sorry, just... This is Hyde. He looks... I'm trying to think. He looks a lot like a character I remember. Like... Okay, he's got the... Hold on 1 second. Do I have the mouse on? I want to see if I can get the mouse cursor back. Okay, back on track. Like, if the hair was longer, he would look a lot like Dracula. But I think maybe it's the sideburns and the beard. They remind me a lot of one of the other Phoenix Wright characters. I think first one that comes to mind is Damon Gant from Case 5 and Ace Attorney 1. I trust you are too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. Oh, he's got a pocket watch! It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. No. Don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So introductions. I am male strong... Male? As in strong man? LCJ of the British Empire. And I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Good news for you, Ryunosuke. It's been proven that elephants are terrified of mice. Come on, Mrs. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Whoa! Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Alright, this pose, it's reminding me a lot of the mobile game Obey Me, Shall We Date? The character's name is Diavolo. Yes, thank you. Give me a hug. Look at my armband. The armband I inherited from Kazuma identifies the wearer as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Can I look at it? Kazuma Asogi. The lawyer's name is embroidered on the inside here. Look. Kazuma Asogi. This was his band, of course. Oh, wait, that was him. He had his heart set on the study tour in Great Britain. I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here. But he lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I have such a strong sense of his hopes and dreams when I look at this armband, though. Maybe his ghost is with me. These are the scales of justice. They're a symbol of the defense, aren't they? Yes, that's right. The scales are a symbol of fairness to show that all are treated equally in the eyes of the law. And they're a warning to those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind. But if they're the mark of the defense, it would be more auspicious if they were weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think. I don't know, dude. Like, one hand maybe, but I think that's more, like, again, showing the equal scales is probably more fair. Very impartial, I'm sure. This is very well embroidered. Look at my armband! I show you this. To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time. Sorry? Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time? Let's leave it for now. Very fancy way of saying that's where you're wasting my time. Can I look at things? This must be the LCJ's desk. I believe it's made of marble. God damn! It looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that's your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. I feel like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here. I know. That's why this place feels so overbearing, I'm sure. Can we look? There we go. Is this some kind of clock? Is this a reference to the Thinker? Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you'd find on a steam locomotive, even. It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The LCG, I mean? Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they? Depends on the boy. I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you wouldn't call him a boy. Still, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Dang, I thought they'd be loud. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on those shelves. Naughty? They go from floor to ceiling. I'm not seeing any knots. And they're all books that you couldn't hope to come by in Japan. Oh, she's so happy! It's like a dream. Yeah, a very bad dream. They're not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland. What about Russia? Why do you Do you not remember what just happened on that ship? I was wondering about asking the LCJ about how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think? I think perhaps it's a thought best abandoned. Yeah, probably for the best. Look at these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room. I believe they're suits of armor. Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates. Kind of. No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. In fiction. And again, this game is fiction. And they roam around in the middle of the night. Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Miss Susato? This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask, where's the bathroom? Where did she get that incredible tome? I can look around. Not much. I feel like he's missing a mustache. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, well, help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city! It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry. Oh. We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything's so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every where is that? Did you always have a cane? We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes. There's much excitement about the upcoming great exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great exhibition? Thank you for asking for me. Whoa. Oh. I don't know, the way he swung that cane, my first thought is, yep, definitely a villain in the future. Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. I want to see the Paris World Fair. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's... You have birds in here?! Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. 1, I hope the birds have a way out of this tower. 2, do you have to clean up bird poop on your desk? Even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times, we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. Hey! LCJ? I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. Dang, that's fast. Yeah, I agree. The news reached him before we did. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you... Goodbye! That the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart... Oh, dang, the music stopped. What do you have to say? What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo. This is it then. The moment of truth. The thing is, Lord LCJ, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go on ahead? Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case... What if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Please don't smack me with that. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country. And that was Mr. Asogi. At least, that is what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is... This really isn't going well at all. Susato, help me! Just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo. I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I gonna say? It's... It's Mr. Sato! So I want to see all the weird options. Like, I'm gonna load... Like, I'm gonna pick the wrong ones and then load back. Because I want to see where they go. It's only been 40 days since Kazuma died. And yes, I've studied as hard as I possibly could. But can I really stand before this terrifying man and claim that I can do the job? Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. Of course, only one lawyer. She mad. But I'm sure I can stand before this terrifying woman and claim that I can't. I'll end up upside down on the floor if I do that. Not that I'm scared of a Susato takedown, obviously, but still. Perhaps I should change my answer. Okay, I want to see what happens if I say Susato. Like, she'll do it! It can probably only be... Yes! Miss Susato! An unusual introduction? But I presume you mean this charming lady beside you. You're a lawyer, are you? That look she's giving me! After all the days of hard work she put in to help me study. I can't let her down now. I think that's quite enough joking, don't you? Strongheart? Her real answer is, it's me. Okay, I'll go for the real answer now. It was still funny to see, though. It's me. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? Please? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say. And yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court once. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused. But glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Burdia. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. I didn't sleep! I spent 24/7! I didn't leave the... I never left the books. No food, no sleep, no drinks, no showers, no baths. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I've got years of Ace Attorney games under my belt. I realize it's a far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asoka's journey had only just begun. Come here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Is there a time limit? Like, your opening statement must be 1 second? Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? I like the sound his pocket watch makes. You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asoki planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Does one of them involve borrowing your cane? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did the expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Crap, I wasn't paying attention to his face. Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. I almost said specially cured. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Also, I'm sort of thinking like the guy's collar here. It kind of... That plus a little... I guess... I don't know what to call it. A badge? This thing here, it feels like a mixture of Edgeworth's like cravat and something about either something like the Von Karma thing. I'm not too sure how to word it. Also, I'm now noticing this guy has a really fancy detective outfit on with the shoulder things and everything. So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. Today?! No advocate has been appointed for the defense as of yet, so this will be welcome news. I'm just as shocked as you are. Straight away? We just got here! We haven't even used the bathroom! If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you will have passed my test. Excuse me. What could be simpler? It's a bit of a tall order. How do I get myself in these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. A murder trial! Called it! A murder? We've already tackled 2 murder cases already! An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. You say that? That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital Oh god, the death sentence?! Capital punishment? Will he put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short sea-based introduction to British law. I may have skimmed that bit. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the LCJ, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Birds! Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. Does the death sentence apply to the person who is actually guilty of the crime? If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. 5 minutes, in fact! Wait, I lied. In 5 seconds. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? Knowing there's 2 more cases, or one, I can't remember. What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? Sorry, quick water break. Ooh. For Asogi! Alright then. If I have to give you a decision now, my answer is... No! I can't get the words out! Sorry. 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. God damn it! So it's as I suspected, isn't it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is No! No! Like, did it really count how much time I took before answering? Hey, don't slap me! Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mrs. Sato, but what could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. Ooh, debate time! What are you trying to say, madam? I think what Mrs. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance as a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. Wait a second. Sorry, I just realized. Is this guy Sherlock Holmes' dad? Because I noticed the hair colors, they're very similar. Plus, they're both detectives, in a way. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day. But for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief LCJ. Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from... Old Bailey? If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. Wait, I just said that... I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. Guilty. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. That's awful! But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Is there a shortage of lawyers here? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you! Okay! I'm really his only hope. So, what do you say now, madam? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. And I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. How old is this dude? Wait, wrong thing. Sorry, I just realized I can pull up the court record. People. 1652? Dang. He looks good. Birds! So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. While a guy is being tried. While a guy waits on a possible death sentence. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Okay, okay. Wait, I can talk to her? Sure, why not? Mrs. Sato, Is she gonna throw me? Careful! From this position, I can perform a Sato takedown in an instant. I know. Mr. Naruhodo, you heard Lord Strongheart. The trial starts imminently. If I need to throw you, I will. You know, you could just say, I think we should hurry to the courtroom. If you need to ask me anything, it had better wait until we're at the Old Bailey. To be honest, the name Old Bailey, it kind of I don't think of a courtroom, but it sounds like a bar. Unless that's where it's taking place. London's highest criminal court with an illustrious past. Can I meet the defendant? Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were gonna rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? If you get us there in 2 minutes, we'll double your pay. Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. Guinea? Money? It's one of my favorite lines from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were gonna die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, oh, that's cute. At least we arrived here before the trial started. Yeah, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here. But there's no sign of him at all. Dang it, I wanted to meet him. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendant to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air. Almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning! Sorry! Top of the morning, first that was Jacksepticeye. Top of the morning to you laddies! I can't do it right. What are you doing? I can't do a good Scottish accent. What are you doing following me here? Things are fairly desperate, are they? Sorry? Are you hiding a bunny in your hat? Would you look at these expressionless faces from the east, are you? We're from Japan. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. He's got rings on his finger. So how much do you need? No, we're just here because... Is this supposed to be a New York accent? Because I see use a lot. I'm not good at New York accents or any kind of accent. No need explain, fella. I've been here myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name. And all while in a strange faraway land. Or Brooklyn? I'm gonna have to... How do I invoke Joey Wheeler? Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. We're actually gonna sleep on that chair. Tis grand, tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. I know little to nothing about British currency. Like, I know there's pounds, quids, but... Is there guineas, or is that an old-time thing only? But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. Nani? Tis nothing to me. Okay, Joey Wheeler. Flame swordsman, tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough will to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. I think I'm slipping into southern. Could that much rain even fall in one day? I've heard the UK gets a lot of rain, so maybe. Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. That hit me in the eye! I wasn't expecting the coin to fly at me. Can I get your name yet? Don't get me wrong, fella. Don't get me wrong, I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. Trial's about to begin, you see, it's for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. Can I get your name? Screw it.
So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now.
Oh, well, the thing is...
Don't worry about the thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's gonna start without me having any kind of representation at all.
So it's true. The LCJ wasn't just making it up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but... does that mean you're the defendant in this trial?
Okay, I've given up figuring out this guy's accent. Blustering blazes, do you not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names? I see you're one of London's biggest hats.
No, sorry, we only just arrived in the city, you see.
I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park.
Oh! Wait a minute! Are you a reference to Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Just like Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park.
Sorry, a park? What?
'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did.
Okay, I'm wondering if either this guy is a reference to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or Scrooge. An entire park in central London?
A city of smiles. That's my vision for London. There's not Magnus McGilded.
So I guess it is Scrooge.
I want to check.
Still don't know anything. 48. I don't see that they'd be the same age.
There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city, and it's Quare? That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Wait. Wasn't expecting that new emote. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What's the matter with London police, I ask you? Ha, depowered. Alright, don't pass out.
Mr. Naruhodo? Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath.
Good idea. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually in here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying? Are these words swapped? Yeah, daft Egypt. Oh, I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen! But if that's true, why the places can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Do I really sound like that? Because he did it! That's the only explanation! Well... well... Hold on. Let me see it again. I didn't even think of this. I just figured, like... I thought it was like some sort of court-appointed lawyer thing going on. Not at all. Although it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean? That would be the fault of the What? Wait, like... Jack the Ripper? Reaper? Sorry? Did you just say Reaper? I, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barak von Zeeks. Barak von Zeek. Is there a pun in there? Oh, I wonder what he looks like. He's the prosecutor. Is the Grim Reaper? When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused a sacrificial. I was about to say, what kind of court is this? But I remembered Von Karma, Francisca, Godot, and all the other wacky lawyers. Well, wacky prosecutors. This includes Simon Blackquill, what's his face? Clavier, Gavin. That one guy from Spirit of Justice. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So to reach the desperate situation, where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all, you could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness. Lord Barak van Zeeks. I need to know if there's a pun in that name. Hold on. Sorry, I want to check. Also, want to do a quick... Damn it. I want to see the name pun! I don't want to see his face just yet! Okay, so apparently the wiki doesn't have it, but according to a Reddit post by Bolt GSR, Takumi has stated that he needed to think a lot about this name and that he was too ashamed to explain it. Banji Kusu might come from the saying Banji Kusu, which means all is over, or nothing more to be done. In universe, it may refer to the fact that all defendants will eventually perish, whether they escape from Van Zeeks in the courtroom or not. Barak probably comes from the Baroque movement. Huh. Also, very quick thing, want to run a quick test drive on... Okay, there we go. Sorry, it's just... First, I had some issues with the chat earlier, so I got a little paranoid. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way to the courtroom. The trial's about to begin. His counsel? Oh wait, that's me! Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. Wait! I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here. I made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I ain't telling you shit! I decided I had to defend myself. I decided I had to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance. A student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident. I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. At least give me some information. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. And whoever this prosecutor is, we're screwed. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom. When I say courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes. Yes, something that Cosmo never would have allowed. Counsel of defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm gonna manage this. To be continued? Or... Dang, it's like a church. Oh! Are those the 5 witnesses? Or 6? So this is the highest court in Great Britain. The Old Bailey. Excuse me. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. Sorry. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, what? Poor boy! Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. It's the first case all over again. Also, there's the genetic Phoenix Wright look. I know, but I just can't help it. Okay, so there's Dracula. Or Alucard. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. It must be the Reaper of the Bailey. More like the Vampire of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense. Sorry, this guy looks a lot friendlier than the judge from the original Phoenix Wright, and his beard is so floofy. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Yeah, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Hi, Dracula. Nipponese? Wait a minute. Sorry, I'm just noticing the hair. It's like Dracula mixed with Edgeworth. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. It's been a while since I saw the Netflix Castlevania, so I'm sort of thinking. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Meh. A cold shiver just ran down my spine, all the way to the tips of my toes. Someone give me a whip. I need to fight Dracula. Francisca, are you here? No, Mr. McGilded. Yeah. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You should be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow's a student from some little island off the far east. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I like to think that act of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded! What a fine judgment London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mommy, please! May we go play in the McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news. He certainly has a way with words. Why do I get the feeling me getting this guy a not guilty verdict? Like, aside from giving me the right to study law in Great Britain, like, the Stronghearts have some sort of other, like, ulterior motives. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. And I just noticed the flames are in sync.
Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury...
We have a jury? I thought those were witnesses.
I'm sure I need hardly remind you.
Why do you have a knife? Are you the killer?
That you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
I see little grandma has knitting needles. It's... Also, I'm wondering if there's like a clue reference here. It's like Mrs. Pink, Mr. Dark Green, Mrs. Green, Mr. Purple.
Yes, my lord, is the task is set, rot us to the gallows where they belong. I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree.
Ha! Any criminals here will be wishing they never set eyes on me. Why do you have a knife? Oh, dang, you have a typewriter. Oh, you're getting drunk.
I feel a chill.
Blech.
Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, these people are...
The jury. Yes, that's something we don't have in Japan yet.
That's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors.
I feel like I've seen that guy's design somewhere.
The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view.
But how exactly do jurors give their verdict?
That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses.
Yeah, hope so.
Prosecutor Van Zieks.
My lord?
It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounce your fame. In fact, it's been centuries. How's the blood shortage going?
I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. I even left my Castlevania for this.
So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance from which the court should be aware?
I need blood. Leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. He came out of retirement! Wait a minute. Wait. He's 32?! He's older than me! Like, he's barely older than me. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback?
Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please.
Oh shit. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. Is that a old-timey parchment? The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. So 3 days ago, 10 p.m.? Yeah, 10 p.m. Thrice-fired mason. The victim was a maker of building bricks, known in the community as Thrice-fired Mason. Oh, his poor hat! Sorry? Thrice?
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
I thought it was in he got fired. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the cause of the ultimate death. Is that a stain on the wall? Here's the autopsy report from the Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at the Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Before that, thrice-fired mason, male, 54, brickmaker. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. I'm trying to see if there's anything off in this picture. Huh? Oh, he's missing a button. Okay, this isn't a stain, it's just part of the decoration. Okay, so far all I can tell is that he's missing a button on his shirt. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. Okay, I'm just gonna give the prosecution and defense the same, just my natural-ish speaking voice. And these are... Good lord, your toupee came off! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. Mr. McGilded's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. There's a blood stain on the right glove. How did I get into this? This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day to London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. Gilded right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with the coin in his right hand a little earlier. Pity. I've only been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Is there something inside the gloves? Is there something iffy about these gloves? Is that the blood? Oh. So I'm trying to study these gloves, see if there's anything off. Because, like, maybe aside from the blood, there might be something else. Hopefully it comes up later. I backed into a corner before he even started. Continuing. Oh, he has a sword too, I think. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other... That's such a fancy way of pointing! Was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded! To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it.
Are you claiming to have been asleep?
'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Little thin, so it is. And when I opened me eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me. The body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in me life. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? Okay, for some reason I thought who was stabbed in the chest. I wasn't about to start worrying about the gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the drivers is only the beginning. There's more! Are they the jurors? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. You look like you need more sleep.
Order! Order! Order!
When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. Technically, would they be witnesses if they didn't... Because as far as I know, carriages, they have like... You can't see much in those windows unless you're sitting inside them. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Meep.
Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we'll hear testimony from these witnesses first of all.
Your wish is my command. Damn, he's fancy! I want his outfit now! Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Oh, he's freezing! Oh no, your hat! Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. Beppo. I drive an omnibus to the I drive an omnibus in the East End. Fair play. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady first. Ladies first. I make ass for gents. Keep the puns coming. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Wait, what does an omnibus look like? Because I'm imagining those carriages that only holds 2 people, and is an omnibus not that? Okay, wait, no, I don't mean like the... I don't mean the giant buses, I mean like the old-timey... It... okay, so it is... Okay, so it is kind of a... It is a horse-drawn carriage, but it looks like it can hold more than... I guess a few people. And I've seen... And from what I'm seeing, there are some pictures where... Like, there are no windows, or it's like a double-decker bus. Except... But a horse-drawn carriage. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Quite right.
Yes, sir, that's right, sir.
Very well then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
The poor dude's cold! It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well.
The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other in the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did, couldn't help it. And your hat's falling off. As soon as I heard the street, I stopped my bus. And then I saw it too. Can you be a little more in-depth? Unambiguous testimony, I must say. I need to get more info. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. You're French? I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony, it stinks! Makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As had been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. Cut me some slack, I'm from Japan! How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Islands was a good century behind our— Hey! But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves. The actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean? The actual scene? How? Wheel in the carriage! A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which the bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Wheel it in, boys! What? The entire carriage? Bailiff? Fancy! Bring forth the stricken omnibus! The more I look at the Reaper guy's design, the more I like it. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus! I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and carry up to 8 passengers. Four passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of it. It looks like we put the omnibus on the stand. Okay, omnibus, testify. And I should point out to our foreign guests. Oh! That there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Dang, that's actually kind of neat. Skylight. Ah! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. So were they in the rear seats? Through the skylight. That makes perfect sense. Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced a crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. Excuse me. I'd like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Okay, that was... I find it cute that they added a little, like, resetting the wig animation. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Your Honor, I don't think it can fit in my pocket. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving the omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Speaking of which... Actually... Oh, we got 40... 16, 52, 48, 32, 54... Mason, dang. 62. Driver the omnibus. 34. 21. He's got a small mouth. Wait, hold on. Whee! I'm going to rotate it in my mind. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ugh, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. That's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Ooh, the Crystal Tower is under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Wait, can I... that's a poster for the... Wait. Is it? Oh. Ooh. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that? Well, it was after dark. And there was a lamp on in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Is there anything else? What's this? Oh, is it like a... I don't know, like a trunk? The seat has a handle, it seems. Whoa! Neat. This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubs to repair the wheel... Feeding tubs, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So there's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. Unless you were sitting in the opposite seat. Can I actually... look at those one by one. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So I suppose it can't be opened from the inside of the cabin. Is there anything is there a handle on the other seat? Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside then. Does it lock from the outside? Or from the inside? I can't look at the bottom. Phoenix Wright Omnibus, goddamn. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they might like it. Depends on the person. That or if there's no room in the bottom, and they have to pay money to do so. Ugh, I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as pie? Oh god. I just remember there was a show I grew up watching called Malcolm in the Middle, and there was a scene where this guy, one of the characters, Francis, he tried to sabotage his own hockey team, but due to some weird shenanigans, he had to help them, even with all the sabotaged gear. And when the team found out that he was the reason for all their equipment being bad, they strung him up behind one of those Zambonis on an ice rink, and he was dragged behind it naked. Perhaps that's the real reason. Perhaps that's the real price you pay to stay out late. Is there anything on this other one? Dang it! Wait, can I scan this? God damn it. Oh god, my eye. Hold on. Also, dang, there's nothing else aside from the blood stain. Let us continue with the proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. I just shat myself! Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. Slap! Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Woo! I'm loving the stained glass, like, little animations there. It was, and it was late, so I asked a few customers. Did you now? Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir, that's quite right, yes. Ever so cold it was. Freezing, in fact! Wait, and you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right. Not out traveling the same parts of the bus, no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example? You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that, no one. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then? I have to say, the boss insists that on it running he does, every evening. The last bus of the day. Aw. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with it being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the... 20 pence?! Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. There has to be a better way to invest that money. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Wouldn't they be sitting across? And you saw them through the skylight and the roof of the carriage? That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. I don't know, dude. What about the seat on the, like... If you're in the front seat, it's not really at your feet. You have to look behind you. There was a lamp on inside, so I had a pretty good view. The 2 of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their face. You can't see their hats from here! But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. Okay, scratch. Okay. The hats thing I find kind of hard to believe, because you can kind of see the top hat here, but not one over there. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. Gill is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. So he's short. And you've all got top hats. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. And out of the blue! The accused reached over. Really? You actually saw in the moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Oh yeah, McCain. Or a fair dinkum, hard-working city banker's not considered trustworthy these days. No. I didn't mean that. This is no good. I really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... The jury can interrupt? My lord! Juror number 3. They don't have names. What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or none or other than they shouldn't be. Every single one of them. Ah! Oh. Okay, 1, I was not expecting this. 2, I'm guessing this means he already cast his vote for guilty. What? Oh, dang. There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. I feel like he might be... I feel like either he's complicit in the crime or he is the killer, because that was a really quick... I don't know, that was a really fast decision. That is precisely what I was going to say. Damn it, not you two! As a foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors here. What the... What's happening here? Also, those scales. 1, that's a very clever construction mechanism, and 2, goddamn. Let's see. Ah yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case. One by one, they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. Question. What if, after seeing a lot more evidence, they sort of realize, oh shit, I made a mistake, can I change my vote? So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Oh dang, this... They also adjusted the scales in the background. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This is a nightmare. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed. How loud did you scream? He stabbed him, you say. And you're sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right. I was up on the roof seats. Wait, can I actually... I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that was stabbed. I'd been thinking about a new hat design, you see. So I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. At your feet? But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly. A huge, great knife. A grim sight indeed. That didn't help me at all. Oh, I'm really liking these little idle animations. And the lady's going wild with her typewriter. Jury looks like they're even more convinced my client did than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious than Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Your fist is not evidence, Mr. First. Yes, sir. Is this the knife? It's a very fancy one. Oh, good grief. Yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that... Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. You know a lot about stakes through the heart, wouldn't you? That is a blade of a considerable size, Counsel. It is. And furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M. Which seems oddly familiar. Jonathan Morris from Castlevania. Please no. M for Magnus, perhaps? Or McGilded, probably? Or Mason? Take your pick. It seems this particular big name in London makes a magnificent mistake. Oh, that was him. That objection sounded so quiet. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes, like in Mason. Yes, thank you.
Objection!
Oh my god. That objection was so fancy. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. You don't know that. It could have been a gift. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. Yay. Before that, really quick! That part is the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, sorry, yes, I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the words of a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kasuma's soul! Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. That's a very... For some reason I imagine, for a stabbing, shouldn't the blood, like, go all... Shouldn't there be, like, a stabbing all the way up to the hilt? Ugh. That looks a lot like blood. It sure is blood. The victims. An English man's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. I mean, blood is blood. We're all human. Did you think it wouldn't? Did you think it was gonna be blue with sparkles in it? Sorry, it's just that we've only just arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Anything weird? An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. And it's beautifully gilded, too. It must be very valuable, I should think. What is it? Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. This could change everything. Good point. A W? Yes, this is one of those, you know, cases. I'm sure of it. I'm afraid I don't know at all. But what I am sure of is that this is an M. Oh. Well, that idea was quickly quashed. You tried. Juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman. And a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct? How do I pronounce that?
Sacrosanct.
Sacrosanct. Okay. However... God damn it! Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, were you about to... Dispose of the rubbish! Help! No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Oh no, not you two! I have painstakingly typed every word until it here today and cross-referenced all the facts. God damn it. As such, I'm now in position to draw the only logical conclusion. Are you sleeping? Wake up, knife man. Ah, not good, not good. Not again. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press these witnesses for more info, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But... oh man, this feels like it's like in the past Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games, the idea was like just keep pressing until you get more information or find a contradiction. Now it's like you can't do that anymore. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Can you go into more detail, sir? What exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir, that would be the passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor, he was. I'll look fine. And by passenger, obviously you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And the other person had a knife in his hand. Like this. By the other passenger, obviously you're referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then he plunged it like this. Hold up. The one guy said they were sitting next to each other, but the driver's saying that in order to do that stabbing motion like he did, wouldn't you have to be sitting across from him? What? No! My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, you're number 5. Do I take it that you too? As the master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the kiddies' carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. God damn it! But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep it up in mind. Giddy up now, Silver Blaze, the beauticious in sight. Grandma, help me! Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means the 5 jurors agreed to condemn this man. Fuck! Grandma, help me! Madame Juror number 6. Grandma, if you say guilty, I'm no longer asking for cookies. And I hope your knitting gets unfurls. Yes, dear. What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand. Oh yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? I was focused on my knitting. Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoner's face, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that would stab someone, surely. Mommy, we're going to McGilded Public Library! How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? Is this your theme music? The moment I hear organs, it's like definitely Dracula. What kind of a man is he? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Oh no. Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of soul. Shylock? This game is teaching me a lot of new words. Hold on, wait. To lend money at high rates of interest. So he's a loan shark? What? Stone to crows! Oh, you're making a little onesie! McGilded lends money at extortionate rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Do we have evidence? Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? Granny! Grandma, no! You're not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing in his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. You're springing this on me now? Let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debts. Good gracious, my wig! Brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender. Nice alliteration there. Magnus McGilded. Also, do you have a scar on your face? Just now noticing it. I don't believe it. Susato speaks! Please help me! If I might add something briefly. Miss Susato? You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? He's like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. Where did that come from? Was that always there? And also, oh damn, he is Dracula. Does he throw his wine glass? Pray forgive the courtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Oh, there it is! Lord Van Hallow's hallowed chalice. How could this be considered acceptable? I find myself in an unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Sir? You're almost twice her age. If you're trying to flirt, don't. Huh? As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. Are you gonna drink any of that? And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will accept this new evidence. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. Let me see. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets from London's gentry? Oh dear. Do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, isn't it? I don't know how to pronounce that phrase. Apart from my great detective friend, perhaps. Where's Herlock when you need him? Actually, I wonder. I assure you, we will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside. Well, let's see what we find. Either way. I can't read any of this. It's all scribbles. And I can kind of read cursive. It's still hard to read. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Oh! Oh! It's one of the guys! One of the witnesses! Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying this very moment. Oh yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? He borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible this is just a coincidence, of course. But this could be very useful information. Yay! And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Grandma, no! Well, it would seem I've... No! I've had the full pull over my eyes, Grandma, no! Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little park, too. What a scoundrel. No! No! No, 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 no. Still. Maybe it's all for the bet. Grandma! No! Let me think about this a little more before... I don't stand for nonsense. Shit. Oh, God. Game over? That was it. The last juror's decision. Wait a minute. I thought we were, like, there was something about getting both, like, the juror's verdict and the judge's verdict, so we've got one big guilty, but we haven't heard from the judge, unless the juror's decision automatically makes the judge say guilty. According to this encyclopedia of British law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver... No! God damn it! Final verdict. It's over. There's a footnote, though. Footnote? However, the defense... Let me do my thing! All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial. No! By delivering my final verdict. No! Just are no objections. Yes! Let Susato finish what she was saying! Susato, just tell me one thing! Yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your encyclopedia of British law. However, the defense... What did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have... You already read that bit! However, the defense has the right to demand a summation... Summation examination? What's that? Do it! 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 Summation examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? From which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. It's at least more recent than your birthday! Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. is a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Crap. What even is it, Miss Susato? The so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment and I'll read about it. You will demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails. Shut up! Alright, Mr. Naruhodo, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions? Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit, really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. He did it! Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try it in this day and age. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. We're gonna revive it! Rise from the ashes! Rise from the ashes! What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? A summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out, or admit defeat? Saving? Slap. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
Let me do my thing! London is the capital of the most powerful nation on Earth. Depends on who you ask. Also, I feel like the colonies would say the capital of the most crappy nation. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial. The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with a summation examination. This is madness. This is Ace Attorney! Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision. On what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. This is most regular. No mention was made of this before. Is this one of those instances where the jury is like, you know what, let's just say the person's guilty so we can all go home? I don't really hold with all this justifying lark. Also, now I think about it, is juror number 4, like, does she become one of those, like, courtroom typers in the future? Seems to have thrown their jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for. To turn this trial around! So be it then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. The court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant Magnus McGilder guilty of this most serious crime. Ooh! jurors' contentions. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Why do you have a knife? He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. Don't stab me with your knife! I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust a girl. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Wait. 4 passengers. 20 pence. That's 5 pence. Oh god. Scoundrel. Stabbing that poor man on the floor. Floor? It beggars belief. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them, and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Huh? I thought I was gonna have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. I was thinking you just have to cross-examine them. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. God damn it! But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try and persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Now, what am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. And as one suspicious dude with a knife, apparently. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they're all complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Divide and conquer, in a way? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can contrast the statements, and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions of what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Yes, I suppose you're right. I think I spotted one. Like, the one lady was saying it was 20 pence for 4 people, but then the one guy says, we never raise prices above 4. And it's like, wait, 4 people, 20, you need 5. Find contradictions in their statement and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. Slap. Double slap. I have to pull this off. Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Oh, damn. There was no one else inside. Hold on, let me save. Because I have an idea of what to do, but I don't know if I can do it, if I'm going to do it correctly. Four passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
Objection!
The math doesn't make sense! Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. Hey, Drew, explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear, what have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's maiden name I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question, And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details neatly typed here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. And it is a fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man, why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, that'll be 16! Ah! It will be 16 pence! Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact.
I love that face and how he rests his hand on the sword.
Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare?
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon?
Fight! Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he let nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end?
Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales. I wasn't expecting to say it like, how do I make this trial go on? Well, here's what you do: throw a fireball.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement.
We were all in agreement.
Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo.
Thank you.
This is all very irritating.
I don't know. I feel like there are 2 possibilities. Either a 5th passenger was on the carriage that Beppo didn't mention, or he raised the price. Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same.
For the love of Mike, not you as well.
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in a financial matter.
Really?
Yes, really. I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again.
Well done, Mr. Naruto, you did it!
We can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more. Actually, there is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. That's where we must strike next. So we need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Constable, you have the floor again. Continue with your examination.
Changing my lean to innocent. I should like to hear from the... I think there was one where the old lady said he was stabbed on the floor, while another said he was stabbed to the side. There's someone else in the carriage. Also, notice if they turn innocent, the font looks a little faded. Grr, Beppo, this trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of this corruption. Not guilty, I say. Scoundrel stabbing the poor man on the floor.
Objection!
Those two statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel, post haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. For your baby? I mean, for your grandson? What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3, I wonder if they mocapped the walking animation. Can't you see I'm busy here? I'm trying to hide the evidence! I mean, get my knife back! How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it? Ha, wanna test me, do you? It was like this! Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up, just like the prim banker said. I want the lady to go, "Don't stab me!" Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony, quite true. Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it. It was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Coachman, what? Now don't move! Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What?
Bless my stitches! What a muddle!
What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth. Oh, but why? Why in the dickens would they lie? Because one of them's the killer? I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. Thank you, Grandma! I can't abide people telling lies.
The scales. I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Juror number 1, were you paid to make sure everyone votes guilty? Look at him in his black suit. He's... Really? He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. I think that if by sorcerer you mean logic, then I could use magic. Do you really have me putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Dark Jinx. Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? Seriously, dude? We're talking about a murder, so if 2 people have 2 different ideas of what the hell happened, then you gotta figure out what the fuck actually happened. What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus. And this young dandy saw him do it. Him? And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? Oh, check the evidence. Once! One time! Eat shit, sir. I've got evidence. What are you calling a dandy, sir? Why I should take this knife to you?
What are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you.
Oh boy, they're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? No! Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Okay, I'm pretty sure it's impossible because the guy was only stabbed once. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman. Huh? What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it. I've got a name, you know! What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. Huh? Hey, woo! What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. You were paid to make everyone say guilty? As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. If you have one person in charge, then... like... that doesn't add up. Like, the only way I can see you, like, your position as being beneficial is in, another episode of Malcolm in the Middle. This, the mother character, Lois, she has to do jury duty, but when she's there, she learns that all of her fellow jurors, they don't really care about the trial, and they just want to vote guilty so they can all go home. And Lois goes, hell no, we all need to study this case and actually decide whether the person's guilty or not. And she, after a lot of pressing and, like, pressure, the whole jury actually sits down and actually starts studying various things, like the defendant's history, the events that transpired in the trial, and then the crime, and so on and so forth. But this case, eat shit, juror number 1. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime. Also, wait. The jurors don't count as witnesses, right? If you say that's out of the question, so show me some proof. Looks like the only way I'm gonna convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable, hard evidence. As you wish. What? I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the 2 witnesses saw 2 different moments of the same crime, as proven by... You want hard, irrefutable evidence? How about 1 hard, single stab wound? This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Once. Only once? Get your eyes checked. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely 1 time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Where'd your knife go? I could see defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won. Well, we've only won half of it. I mean, we still have the rest of the trial to go. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop... A knife shop? Wait, so you're Sweeney Todd? Please tell me he's a barber! Just pray he isn't the demon barber of Fleet Street. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at a 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate. And the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord Van Zieks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. I want to say... I hope his, like, defeat animation is him chugging the entire bottle. Or the entire chalice. What is a man? Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice. It may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. His wig. Lord Van Zieks. Is it cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored the deathly silence, and listened to the charade. So that's why he was so quiet. It seems I'm overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Okay, that's mean. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? Why are we zooming in? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Whoa! Bring forth the witnesses once more! Does the cape fall on Naruhodo's head? One of them is looking nervous. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir, I heard it. You sure on the end? The coachman, I believe it's Beppo? Yes, sir, my lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir. Oh, mio Dio. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. I see 2 nervous people and 1 angry man. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear. But, well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before still stands. Oh, yes, he just stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. A phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. What's the name of those shoulder things? Like, I've seen them a lot in fashion. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Beppo, explain yourself. I'm terribly oh, dang, he has eyes. I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that. Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? It's so cold. The last run of the day is always half empty. You have been dishonest, coachman. I'm so sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace! And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your carriage! If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week. With him? Like with Beppo or someone else? What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. Okay, so the idea I had before of Beppo overcharging them by 1 pence, it feels like the worst possible case, because that means there is no mystery 5th passenger. No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. What's a parlor game? Absolutely! He looks so nervous. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it, but, Okay, wait, no, go back, go back. Because he paused. Unless that was because he was filling in, but I only carried 4 passengers then. Are you sure? So there were only 4 passengers on your carriage, but you didn't charge them with the standard 4p fare. Is that right? How's everyone doing? It's impossible to last run of the day. Pay! I was so cold, it was all I could do to stop myself passing out. How y'all doing? I'm getting chillblains? It was terrible, so I wanted to give myself a pat on the back for even keeping the bus running. Well, that's new. Doesn't a dedicated coachman deserve an extra penny per passenger? You're digging a deeper hole for yourself here. If only there had been a 5th passenger on the omnibus that night. Then we would have had another suspect. You sure? Does that mean everyone on board the night paid 5p instead of 4? Well, I paid 5p too, sir! And I just told you that I did. A flat fare of 5p across the board! It's not something to be proud of. The so-called discrepancy my learned friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone. Dead and buried. Okay, I have to admit, he does look kind of handsome. I'd have been happy if it had ever existed in the first place. Filled us on the fare he did, and then I saw the blood-curdling sight as well. Can you go into more detail? This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir! Y'all look sad. A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man the moment his life is shaken. Oh, well, not exactly. Not exactly? I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed. Goodness gracious, my wig! Really? We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker next to me tarp and take a breath, see? That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly, all covered in blood! Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming, even when I'm eating! I tell you, I saw him stabbing that man. You sure? So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? And that's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only the 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as of yet, 0 evidence. And what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white! The man's guilty! Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. Oh yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. You think so? Earlier you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose. Anyone? I might have, you know, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe? Horse-ish. Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horse when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. That's when I turned around, yes. I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking out from his midriff? Oh wait, the belly. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. I'm not getting any, like, weird expressions from the other guys. So you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head... No, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing. Excuse me? You doing okay there, buddy?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't see the very exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Hey? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new info from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? No chance some days are like that. Okay, I saved, so in case I get it wrong. No chance? Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, that is. The classic Phoenix Wright head scratch. Peeping? I, a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember clearly as a Ballarat... Ballarat? It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after the butcher stabbed them? Okay, I don't think the gloves count as extremely blood-stained, or blood-covered. But, maybe?
Objection!
Yes! Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Sorry, I really love this pose and how he's using this Kazuma's soul as his armrest. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question. Oh, yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove. Don't eat your cane! There are no vitamins in it! In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah, but no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here then. Yeah, Grandma, I'm sorry. That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed. But is that really the truth? Stop chewing on your cane! It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. In a court of law? Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one, but the fact remains. Whoa, that's classy. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court. Is this another instance of, like, the government telling them to lie? Also, stop nibbling on your cane like a chipmunk. Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the golden standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society, don't prevaricate. He's claiming to have no reason to lie. Alright, he has a loan. Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. Hey sir, I know about your financial history. My lord. Yes, counsel? The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove, are you sure? Yes. Evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court. He has to repay a loan.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors in your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? No, it's barely worth being called a debt. It's not a According to this ledger, I like this new animation. You owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? It's a lot of money. Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which are owed to him would be annulled. He would cease to exist. Oh. Cease to exist? We got a motive, Mr. Fairplay. Is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Good. Order, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, but let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time in which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim? Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. He suddenly calmed down. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? More like by a mountain. But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection!
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. first. Do you have something to say? I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
He's like glaring at me like, don't give me away. Well, thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens.
Seeing what?
The blood, sir. On the assailant's hands. I think... yes. I'm almost sure that was on both of his hands, not just one.
What?
My thoughts exactly!
This is what I was like, dude, are you okay? It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes.
I might finally have a chance to turn things around here.
I hope so.
No perjury this time, okay? There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters. That does! So you saw blood, but you didn't see the actual attack. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen it. Oh, quick water break! His wig! Quick water break. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated.
I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Not much incriminating evidence tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. He was wearing an apron? Would that count for anything? Wait, wrong thing. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Very well, your cross-examination, please. Counsel? Yes, my lord. Confidence! Yay! Some both hands of the assailant. I distinctly remember that. You're sure? No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, sorry, my face.
I know what I saw, and I stand by it. The man had blood on both of his hands. He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might have been mistaken about what he saw. But why? Probably because he wants the guy dead to take care of all his debts. Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired. Yes, it matters! Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well as you know.
We're crying out loud. We all know that no one else could have possibly done it. I was just trying to save us all some time.
Something about the way the paper is traced. It looks a little different. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Eh. Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty? Hey, well, that's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the derby, that's all. I'm going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend, that's a sure thing. A little guinea or 10? I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. I think the judge would. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sure. This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work? I remember seeing the knife, and after I remember seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. You're sure? You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded's gloves have any signs of blood on it. That's right. Thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGild sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both of his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question, was it Herlock Sholmes? Reported there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGild's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow. I'm sure of it. I didn't see anything. I still do. Not until I heard that scream. You didn't see anything? Oh, yes, sir. That's say. No, sir, I didn't. Very sorry about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir, I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, right? What are you doing, Ryu? Oh, please, you didn't even see that? It was cold that night, you see. It was all I could do keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my hand was fairly frozen solid. Sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo! Anyway, the fact remains there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus? That's right, it was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. Well, I don't know about this, young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Couldn't enter the cabin? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. Wait a Oh, let me check in here again. Oh. locked from the inside. I tried knocking when I went to open the door. It was locked. That's right, it's a public bus service for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Yeah, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gen inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly to the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you I just wasn't looking down. I was glaring long and hard. That's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed! Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? I feel like their view would have been limited. Okay, so if they were... Okay, assuming they were sitting here, they would only see those chairs. They wouldn't see the other side. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right? That's right, yes. Which seat were you in? In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. Oh, I got them both. My golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demands. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly is the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated? Pretty sure right here. Please. Both rows of the seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here. Wow, you've drawn these people really well. Oh, thank you, Judge. Oh. That's right, my lord. As you can see, The seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Ah!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. Your Nipponese have a Is this racist? Your Nipponese has a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth and being... I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude. Can I? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which is out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? It was me! It was one of the jurors! Like the guy with the knife. Oh my god, what is him? Actually, the whole thing about the knife being a W. Never mind. I honestly don't know who. Who could have been in the other seat, which is out of sight. He was driving. I think these two can collaborate that they were both on the roof. He's dead. He's not. He's a prosecutor and wasn't involved. And I'm trying to prove that this guy is innocent, so... I genuinely don't know. I have literally no idea! But as a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Go on. This isn't just a case of going on, Mr. Sato. Okay, I'll go on. The defense would like to put forward a name. Oh yeah, got new glass. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. You're just a miserable pile of secrets. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. Slap. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... my assistant! I feel like this is the only guy. Like, I remember stories right. This was the guy who screamed. He was driving, and this guy's testimony just kept. Maybe. I got it wrong. Hey! You could have just said that's not right! Task here is to defend Mr. McGilded. We're working on the assumption that he is innocent of the crime. So the two people inside the cabin on that night... Oh! Okay, I'm an idiot. As though we've all been making a false assumption. Thank you! The witnesses weren't looking at Mr. McGilded at all. Meaning he had to have been sitting somewhere else. Slap. Please! Yes! The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, Counsel? That's the name of the defendant!
Objection!
Your glass! If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. You already did. You've done it twice already. Lord Van Zieks. People talk of these tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advised. I want to tap his forehead, like, use your head. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. I don't know, I'm kind of off topic. I'm hoping as the game continues, his objection starts, like, sort of progress from being really quiet to the loud and proud Phoenix Wright version. But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, Counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
I just imagine, like, the next hallowed chalice he throws, he chucks it behind him and it lands on someone's head in the gallery. Yes, we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hand, both of them.
Objection!
And who is this third party? I don't know. Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary. Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to know such things, sir. How is... Speaking of hats, did you run out of materials for your hat?
And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
Fuck if I know, Your Honor! I'm afraid I don't remember.
And you call yourself a hatter?
Style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure?
Because if there had been,
the accused, Mr. McGilda, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. Didn't he fall asleep? Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to notice the presence of the true culprits in the very cabin in which he traveled. What about that cat? What about that, like, secret cabin under the chair? He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilda would have been unaware of it.
Order! There is a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilda, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
Why?
On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. What if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Sorry, I just noticed the little badge here. I can't remember what the prosecutor's badge looked like on Miles Edgeworth, but I don't remember it, like, looking like this. Magnus McGilda is no uneducated ruffian. You're not saying he paid the police, are you? If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilda to testify? I feel like we should, because we need to get more info, like, from anyone. We need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. I have to go potty! The defense would like to call Mr. McGilda to the stand.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Yes, well, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilda has to say.
Get the men out here, I say.
It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say? Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know. Everyone says yes. Okay, fine, yes.
Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Is he going to stand next to the three? Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Hope so. I might call it a night soon, because it's getting pretty late.
Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilda, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
Oh god, I forgot. Scottish, I think? To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court decides to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Okay. I'm trying to invoke Demo Man from TF2.
Be God, no! 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell you all, or to keep my mouth shut?
To tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fella that represented me there is absolutely right.
In a carriage on the night with myself and the other man. There was another passenger.
It's true! Why'd you keep quiet, though?
Aye! And towards me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
Urchin? It was a child? You...
What?
No, Magnus McGilden. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure they'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. And they'll be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd have done it. They'd have ordered to the courtroom just like myself.
Her? Okay, child. A girl. It's not Pavlova again, is it?
I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
And who is this young child of whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
Hey! You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak. Listen to the proceedings.
You know where she is?
What's happening?
What is going on? Be careful, Naruto. Cover your face. Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I can't say shit!
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. What kind of smoke was it? We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended. Jeez. What the crap happened?